Hi guys, welcome back to Nita Crochet. My name is Anita. Today we are going to be making this skirt, the rope Muse mesh skirt. I already have the tutorial for this top and the written pattern is out soon. So guys, check it out. Let's dive into what we need for this tutorial and get ourselves started. I'm going to be working with this yarn. It's Robin 100% acrylic. It's size 2 yarn. I'm going to be using 1 strand. Then I am working with a 4mm hook. You will need a tape measure, a pair of scissors, and a needle. Yeah. So to start with, we are working chains, any number, any even number minus 1. For example, 120 minus 1 giving us 119. So the reason as to why we are deducting that one is because we are going to be working the mesh stitch in rounds. That means our very first stitch or double crochet is actually the same stitch that is going to act as our very last stitch. Okay, so that's why we deduct that one, because the very first stitch is still going to act as the very last stitch. Now, the number of foundation chains that you start with should be in position to go around your hips when stretched. I am emphasizing when stretched, alright? So just work your chains and then wrap them around your hips, or just get it onto your tape measure if you're working this for a client, and make sure that when you stretch your piece, obviously do not stretch like, just give it just a simple stretch, not that kind of stretch that is very tense. So yeah, just stretch it out to see that it meets your hip measurements, and that's the number of chains that we are going to start with. I'm not going to be particular with mine because I'm working this for not for a client. I'm just working a small size to show you guys how I came up with this design and how you can actually execute it. So I am working a small size, but whichever number of foundation chains that you work, just make sure that they're in position to stretch out to meet your hip measurements. Okay, so once you have it, also make sure that you deduct that one. So that means we are working any number that is not divisible by 2, like 117, like 71, like 91, 93, 95, 97, any number that is not an even number. Okay, that's the number of foundation chains that you should start with for whichever size you're working this for. I am going to be working on a written pattern for this skirt as well, so it will be available in my online shops. You should be in position to purchase it. So here we are. Once we come to the end of the chains that we want to work with for our skirt, we are going to get into the very first stitch. I'm just making sure that my my chains are not like tangled or something. So yeah, I'm going to get into the very first stitch right there and work a slip stitch. Okay, so now after we have worked our slip stitch, we are going to start working our very first row, and this is the very same row in which our rope shall be hand sewed into. So what we shall do is we shall chain 1, and this is just our turning chains, it's not a stitch. So we get into this very first stitch and work a single crochet. Then we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around until we come to the end of our row, and we shall work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started the row. Now the number of single crochets that you should have by the end of your row should be the very same number of chain stitches that you worked for your foundation chains. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of the row, and that's where I'm going to meet you guys, then show you what to do. Please remember to work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started the row. Then I will get back and show you what to do. Once you come to the end of the row, just like you can see, I have worked my slip stitch into, I'm about to work the slip stitch into the chain one that started the row. So what I'll do is I'll get into that chain one and work a slip stitch just like that. That's how you close your row, okay? Now we are going to get started on working our mesh stitch. I have worked several designs with this stitch, guys. You should check it out. You should check. I think I'm just going to put aside a playlist that is for the mesh stitch projects that I have worked on. So we are going to chain 4, and the chain 4 acts as a double crochet chain 1. So we shall skip the next stitch and then work a double crochet into that next stitch. Then chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into that next stitch, just like you can see. This is how it should look like. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into the next stitch, just like that. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch, just like that. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into that next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch, just like that. So this is what we are just going to keep doing all the way around until we have one stitch to end the row, until we have like one stitch left to end the row. You're just going to keep chaining 1, skipping 1, and working a double crochet into that next stitch. So I'm going to meet you once you have one stitch left to end your row, and then I'll show you what to do. So it's just so simple how the mesh stitch works. You just need to keep up with just this one step repeat and you have it. So these are some of the most beginner friendly projects anyone can jump onto if you're a beginner and actually make some beautiful work. So just go all the way around. I'm going to meet you right there when you have one stitch to end the row. Here we are. I have one stitch left to end my row. So what I'll do is I'll chain 1 and I'm going to skip that one stitch that was left. Then I'll get into the third chain stitch of the 4 chains that started the row, and in there I will work a slip stitch. So that's how my second row went for my mesh stitch, my second row of the project. And the next row is not going to be any different from this row. What we shall do is we shall chain 4, which acts as a double crochet chain 1, and we shall I really pretty much advise you turn your work, and then you will skip 1, get into the next double crochet stitch and work a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, get into that next double crochet stitch and work a double crochet, just like that. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into that next double crochet stitch, and here you go all the way around doing exactly what we have done on the previous row. It's just the one step repeat that we are going to just keep doing for this whole entire project. So I'm just going to let you work this all the way around. Just chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, just like that. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next double crochet stitch. So you go all the way around, guys, until you come to the end, until you have one stitch left to end your row, just like we did previously, right there. So that's where I'll meet you. So here we are, almost at the end of my row. This is how my work looks like. Guys, it can stretch, don't worry, it can stretch. So yeah, I'm going to chain 1 and skip that last stitch, and then I'll get into the third chain stitch of the 4 chains that started the row, and in there I'm going to work a slip stitch, just like that. So even for the next row, we are not going to change anything really. It's just a chain 4, turn your work, The chain 4 acts as a double crochet chain 1, and then we skip the next stitch and work a double crochet into that next double crochet stitch right there. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into that next double crochet stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into that next double crochet stitch. So you just keep repeating this all the way around, just like we have done for the previous 2 rows. Come to the end now, repeat this until you have achieved the length of the skirt that you need. You may need to go all the way down to your ankles. You may need to just go all the way above your knee, maybe probably mid-calf length, whichever length that you need this skirt for. You're just going to keep doing this all the way until desired length. That's why we are not working any increases around the hips, because we already started with chains that can stretch out to fit our hips. So I know for a fact that when you put on this skirt, it is going to have room for stretch for your hips. All right. Also, there is something I needed to mention about. Why am I forgetting? God, let me first recall. So go all the way around and repeat this until you have acquired the length that you need. Then I'll get back and show you what to do. So while you work on your skirt, I'm just going to show you how to work your rope, okay? Because it will be the next thing that you do. You're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we are going to get into, let me see, now into the 3rd chain stitch from the hook. You insert your hook and pull through a loop after yarning over, remember. Then we yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch, pull through a loop, that's 2 times, yarn over, insert your hook in there and pull through a loop, that's 3. Yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch and pull through a loop. So that means we have 9 loops on our hook. So we yarn over and pull through all 8 loops, then yarn over and pull through the rest of the 2 loops on your hook. Now here we are going to yarn over, skip 1, get into that very last chain stitch and pull through a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch, pull through a loop, that's now 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch, pull through a loop, that's 7 loops, and yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch and pull through a loop, that's 9 loops on your hook. So we are going to yarn over and pull through, no really. Guys, I don't know why I'm going in there for the 5th time, but it should be 4 times, for real. So we yarn over and then pull through all loops. So we have 2 loops on our hook, and then yarn over, pull through all the 2 loops on your hook. So this is the puff stitch. So from here we are going to chain 3 and then turn our work. The chain 3 is going to act as part of the stitches we need for the puff stitch. So we are going to yarn over and insert our hook in between the 2 puffs that we previously worked. Pull through a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that very same gap, pull through a loop, and we do this 3 times. So we yarn over and insert our hook into that very same gap and then pull through a loop. Now after we pull through all loops on our hook, leaving 1, and then we yarn over, pull through all the 2 loops remaining on our hook. Now once again we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into that very same gap, pull through a loop and do this 4 times. Okay, so that we have a total of 9 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, pull through all 8 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. So this is how it has to look like, and we're just going to be repeating this very same thing for the next puffs that we need for the length of our rope. So we chain 3, turn our work, get in between the the previous 2 puffs that you worked, insert your hook, pull through a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through a loop. Do this 3 times, then yarn over, pull through all loops on your hook, leaving 1, and then yarn over, pull through the 2 loops remaining on your hook. Then once again you yarn over, insert your hook into that very same gap and pull through a loop. Do that 4 times so that you have 9 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 8 so that you have 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all the 2 loops on your hook. So the first puff, we yarn over, insert our hook into that, and then pull through and do that 3 times. Why? Because we have the chain 3 that we have started with, which I also want to count as part of the puff. Okay, so that's how it is. And then we yarn over, do the very same thing, but this time we yarn over, insert our hook and pull through, and do that 4 times so that we have 9 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, pull through 8 loops, leaving 2, and then yarn over, pull through the 2. So this is how it looks like. Now if you want a thicker rope, it's better you double your yarn. And then if you want also bigger puffs, like more popping puffs, you can go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook into that gap and pull through a loop, and you can do that 5 or 6 times, because the more you insert your hook and pull through loops and go ahead and have more loops on your hook, the thicker each puff could be. Also, the more you double your yarn, the thicker the puffs and ropes are going to be. So you're just going to work your puffs in this kind of manner. You can see it's already giving us a rope effect. I don't want something too thick, but you go ahead and work your puffs until you can see that it can go around the waistline of your skirt, all the way around, and it's enough to cover up the whole entire waistline of your skirt. Okay, that's the number of puffs that you will need for your rope. Like you can see for myself, when I fold it all the way around my waistline, it actually can go around my entire waistline, as you can see. So that's what I'm looking for. So after you have worked your skirt and you have acquired the length that you need for your skirt, and also you have worked your rope, okay, you are just going to get a needle and insert your yarn end from the rope that you have. I'm just using 1 strand of yarn to hand sew it around my waistline, so you can cut the strands of yarn you have left from your rope, and then leave 1 strand of yarn which you're going to use to hand sew it all the way around. So get the yarn end and insert it into the eyelet of your needle, and then we are just going to get our rope and hand sew it onto the skirt, but we are hand sewing into the single crochet row that started our skirt. Okay, into the single crochet row. That's why I made sure that there is that single crochet row before I start working the mesh stitch. You can see my skirt is in position to stretch out, so don't worry about the sizing as it looks right now. So I'm just going to lay my rope onto the back where I kept working slip stitches to end my row. That's where I'm going to start from, and then go all the way around. Now remember, I am hand sewing into the single crochet row, guys. Okay, so just take your time and hand sew. No rush, no nothing. Just take your time and hand sew, and make sure that your rope is intact and hand sewed onto the waistline of your skirt perfectly and neatly. Also, what did I want to say? God, I just keep forgetting the things I need to mention to you guys. I hope I remember them and just drop them into the description box if I do. Okay, so you can rather pin your rope so that you make sure it can go around perfectly, then start hand sewing. But when we are hand sewing, we are going into the middle of the puffs. That's where we are running our stitches. that we are hand sewing, and then also into the single crochet stitches or the single crochet row. Okay, so just make sure that you're hand sewing through the center or the middle of the puffs, the center of the puffs. That's where we are running our stitches into, and then also into the single crochet row. So you're just going to go all the way around. There is no mats on this, and you should come to the end of your row and have your work look as perfect. I am so glad you guys have come out to watch this tutorial. So let me just show you how it looks like, and then you can also watch the top tutorial because it's available on my channel. So yeah, this is how it should look like. So go all the way around, attaching your rope until you come to the end right there, and within your ends make sure you have clean work right there, and then stitch that end together. Yeah, that's how it should look like. Thank you so much for watching. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. This is how it looks like. I'm going to be releasing the written patterns for both items on my online shop, so you can check it out. Thank you so much, and goodbye.